Hey guys, welcome to Rosie's Dessert Spot. In this tutorial I'll be teaching you how to make this marbled fondant 2-tier cake. First of all, I'm securing a little board onto a 9-inch board. It's about 3 inches in diameter, popping that into the freezer and then starting on my bottom tier. So I've got a 6-inch cake, securing it to my board and then filling it in with some buttercream frosting. Flatten that out and pop on your next layer of cake. So I've used 2 6-inch cakes, cut them both in half and then stacked all 4 layers on top of each other to make a pretty tall cake. Use your spatula to just clean up the edges, and then I'll apply a crumb coat. So at the very top, spread it out to the sides and then put a thin coating of buttercream on the outside of your cake as well to trap in any crumbs. Normally if your cake is going on a fondant, I don't usually do a crumb coat, but just for the stability of the cake, because it is a bit taller than usual, I'll put a crumb coat for that one. And then set it in the fridge for about 10 minutes. Do the same for your 4-inch cake. Create a bit of a crumb coat, clear up the top, and then set that in the freezer as well for 10 minutes. In the meantime, we'll take out our larger cake and create the final layer of frosting. So adding a healthy amount at the top, spreading it out to the sides, and creating a pretty healthy layer on the outside. And we'll be removing most of this anyway with our bench scraper, so it's not so bad. Go around with your bench scraper slowly, making sure it's nice and smooth and all the edges are even, and then taking your spatula just to create those sharp edges. Pop that back into the freezer and do the exact same thing for your 4-inch cake. My cakes don't stay in the freezer for more than about 10 to 15 minutes when I do this. Clear up the top and the sides and pop that back into the freezer as well. In the meantime, we'll start on our fondant. So I've got some turquoise and yellow fondant here, kind of twisting it and then folding it on itself, creating a bit of a disc, and then flattening, rolling it out to about 1/4 of an inch in thickness. If you can, use some cornstarch or some vegetable shortening to make sure it doesn't stick to your counter. As it becomes thinner and thinner, you'll find little air pockets showing up. So just use a little pin, go in sideways and press out the air. Roll it a couple more times, and then have a look on the other side, because sometimes the pattern's a lot prettier on the other side. Pop it over your cake. Make sure that the top is secure, the top edge, and then to apply the fondant to your cake, grab the folds, kind of spread them, and then press down against the fondant onto your cake, making sure you don't trap any air underneath the fondant. Continue that process all the way down to the bottom of your cake, and then use some fondant smoothers to firstly smooth off the top and then go around the sides of the cake as well. Then you use a little spatula here to go around the base of the cake to remove all the excess fondant, just like so, and do the exact same thing for your 4-inch cake. Here my fondant was a little bit too thin, it could have gone a little bit thicker, but the fondant smoothers fixed up any of those rough looking edges. Now this one here I'm going to cut and then put into the freezer again for about 10 to 15 minutes, just so we can handle it later and it won't kind of misshape. I've got 2 A4 copy pages here, sticker tape them together, and then I'm cutting along so that I have a thin strip, and then with the straightest side facing down towards the cake board, I'm going to sticker tape that at the back, make sure it's nice and tight against the cake. I'm going to create my gold paint here. I've got some champagne gold by Creative Cake Decorating, adding in a little bit of vodka. If you don't want to use vodka, you could also use rose water or lemon extract, and then brushing it onto my cake. And you can see the texture there of my paint was pretty thick. And this is a really beautiful paint. I went around the whole cake twice, making a kind of like a double layer of paint here to make sure it's nice and opaque, and then remove it once you're happy. If you get any spots here or blotches that aren't covered, just go in again with your brush and the paint and cover them up. Then I'm adding very thick straws, 3 of them in a triangle formation, and that's going to be there to support the weight of our second tier. So I'm using a spatula just to detach the cake from the cake board, positioning it in the center and then gently removing the spatula. And because it was frozen, we can touch it and it won't dent the cake at all. Sometimes a little bit of buttercream can lift from the bottom. I'm using my spatula just to press that back down or to clean it up, and then paint in on those sides again. And you're pretty much done. Add some flowers, a cake top if you have one, and your cake's complete. And that's how you make a very easy 2-tier marbled fondant cake. I think this is a very kind of elegant cake, but one of those low maintenance in the sense that it's very easy to do. So once you marble the fondant, put it over the cake, maybe paint a little border around the bottom and you're sweet. So it's a very easy one to make. And that's it. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you enjoy this really simple cake tutorial. It's a very kind of trending kind of style. This whole marbled fondant thing's really coming in. But yes, I will catch you again on Saturday. If you like the little cake topper I've got here, I sell that on my website, rosiesdessertspot.com.